we have the stats, we know the information, we're interested in solutions now. So I will pass you this microphone, or I think that one works, and go ahead and introduce yourself and talk to us about what your group is doing.
Perfect.
In regard to CEDAW, try to relate it back to CEDAW.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica, for the question. Thank you also. As Elmi said, my name is Tara Yarlagada. I'm a field associate here on behalf of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. So for those who don't know, the Leadership Conference is a coalition charged with the diverse membership of its 200-plus member organizations who are working to promote and protect the civil and human rights of all persons across the United States. And so I won't belabor this point. I know we want to get to solutions, but before I start, I want to say, well, thank you for having me here. It's really awe-inspiring to be in the presence of giants such as Esta and countless others who are here today who have been working for a lifetime to advocate on behalf of issues that are near and dear to all of us. So thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to be here. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Marilyn and Wynn, not only for hosting this wonderful regional call to action, but for also your terrific leadership on the Cities for CDOT campaign. It really has been a joy and a pleasure to work with you on this. So I want to talk a little bit here on behalf of the Leadership Conference about the Cities for CDOT campaign. But before I get into the nitty-gritty and the solutions, I think most folks here have heard of CEDAW, but I'll just give a little quick background. CEDAW is a convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. It's an overarching international women's rights treaty that has been ratified by 187 nations across the world. Sadly, the United States is not one of them. Iran and others have also, I was going to mention to my Iranian colleagues here, Iran has also not ratified it, so definitely some cross-collaboration here in terms of how we can work together. But so yes, it's an overarching, very important women's rights treaty, and the Leadership Conference strongly believes that ratifying CEDAW is a critical civil rights issue, primarily because CEDAW defines gender discrimination, and it's a way to promote and protect the rights of women and girls all across the United States. But more focusing on the United States in particular, ratifying CEDAW would provide the United States an opportunity to position itself as a global leader on protecting the rights of women and girls all across the United States. So giving you all a little background on that, and I won't belabor this point, but if you all want to find out more about CEDAW, there's a fact sheet in your packet where you can find out more background information, as well as an informational brochure on the Leadership Conference in case you want more information about the work that we do. So I'm going to speak a little bit today about Cities for CEDAW, getting to the nitty-gritty of the solutions. Cities for CEDAW is a campaign that aims to make the global local. Essentially, it strives to pass ordinances in cities and towns across the United States to promote and establish the principles of CEDAW and protect the rights of women and girls. So what does that mean? What does an ordinance do? So CEDAW ordinances, what they try to do is protect the rights of women and girls through three primary means. One, implementing gender analysis of city departments and city operations. Two, basically providing an oversight body so that city departments can ensure the proper implementation of CEDAW at the local level. And then three, having funding so you can actually put in place these principles. So what does this all mean? This seems maybe very high level. What does this jargon actually mean? I think to bring that to a closer perspective, I'm going to give an example of the San Francisco model. You know, we're all here in San Francisco, and there's no better place to talk about CEDAW than San Francisco. In 1998, San Francisco became the first city to essentially establish and implement the principles of CEDAW at the local level. And you know, it's basically become the exemplar for what a Cities for CEDAW ordinance should do and what can be done and to protect women and girls. Since 1998, San Francisco has introduced and passed several initiatives related to domestic violence, human trafficking, providing expanded language access for responders to domestic violence, all sorts of wonderful initiatives that have come about because of Cities for CEDAW. So San Francisco essentially kicked off this campaign, and since then, 9 other cities, from Louisville, Kentucky, to Los Angeles, California, have either passed ordinances or are working to pass ordinances by, for example, passing resolutions that have firm support for it. And so, you know, you can see that there's a lot of interest in this campaign, and over 24 other cities have already expressed interest. So very likely for many of you in the room, chances are there's already a Cities for CEDAW campaign growing in your hometown. And if not, you can be the seed of change, and you can be the one to start it up in your hometown. So that's kind of a little bit of a snapshot. I don't want to belabor this point because I know we have quite a lot else to talk about, so I'll pass it back to Jessica.
Thank you so much, Tara. That was very informative. And one of the things or the feedback that we have received through the Cities for CEDAW campaign is that CEDAW is complicated, that the layperson doesn't understand it, and that people feel sort of excluded from it. They're for the cause, but they feel a bit excluded from CEDAW because it's this big, intimidating document. And we did have that discussion at the United Nations about how to bring it to the grassroots level, which our next speaker has done a fabulous job of working towards that cause. We want to hear more about Futures Without Violence and your work in regard to CEDAW.
Well, you know, I think one of the issues that we've confronted, and I know we've talked to you all about it a lot, and your colleague June Zeitlin, with respect to CEDAW, is one of our key partners in Washington is a woman by the name of Alex Arriaga, who used to be head of the Amnesty International. I'm just saying this because I think people are behind movements, and I think it's really important to actually put people in the conversation. So Alex was a wonderful advocate, was one of the architects of the International Violence Against Women Act, but also worked. I mean, she works for us as a senior advisor, but is connected to the leadership conference, has been working on CEDAW. And both of these bills, the International Violence Against Women Act as well as CEDAW, were making their way through the congressional labyrinth almost at the same time. And neither one of us got very far. We didn't get far in the international marketplace, have done very well administratively, in part for several reasons. And here's where we connect. On the international violence against women side, anytime you talk about women in the Congress of the United States, the first issue that comes up is abortion. And you get absolutely pulled into that debate. So that is one of the issues that we are grappling with as we move this forward, because we still believe, even though with the administration that we currently have, that we took all of the elements of the International Violence Against Women Act and put it into the administration. We had a global ambassador for women. We put money in country, in conflict zones, et cetera. We hit a wall when it had to do with women. CEDAW has two issues that you're grappling with. One is it's about women, and the other is it's a treaty. And the treaties moving through our congressional labyrinth, it's a new word, I don't know why it's in my brain this morning, but I wanted to use a different word, and I felt like that's not a good word to use on tape, so I'm using a different metaphor. The complications of CEDAW, I think, are both what we're finding with the International Violence Against Women Act, but also because our country has not embraced international treaties. We didn't do it for children, we didn't do it for people who are disabled, and we haven't done it for women. And I think that's important that we put that in context. That's why I think Cities for CEDAW and building momentum is a really brilliant idea. So congratulations to you for that.
Thank you so much. And one of the things that we are working on through the Cities for CEDAW campaign is we've developed a toolkit that is easy to use. She's nodding her head over there. She got it 2 weeks ago from Karen Wilhauser.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Fabulous. So we have some bona fide feedback on our toolkit.
All right. So yes, Karen Milhauser emailed the toolkit to me 2 weeks ago, and we are meeting in Orange County next week to go over the details, because Orange County is still struggling to get on the CEDAW program. And as chair of the task force in Orange County, it is my privilege and honor to be here with the experts who are, I'm guessing, will be guiding us through this program and through the struggle that we are going through in Orange County. Out of 34 cities, not one is willing to be on this program. So it's a struggle, and we are going to do it together. Yeah.
I just want to say that I learned about CEDAW. I live in Long Beach, and I worked on search online, and I know our council person in Long Beach. So I made an appointment. I took it upon myself, and I learned that I just signed up myself for being a peer leader for the CEDAW. So I said, all right. And of course, under Elahi's leadership, I took it to my council person, and I said, so what do we do? So now we are going to go through the journey to find out. And I'm glad I'm here to know and learn more about it to push this through.
Also one of our Iranian sisters, we were there in Santa Clara last night, for a gathering, and she is taking CEDA in Santa Clara to pass CEDA in Santa Clara. She was.
In San Diego, we've struggled with trying to get CEDAW endorsed. We did endorse it back in 1998, but that's so long ago. I'm just curious. We keep being asked, well, how much is it going to cost our cities? Can you give us some idea on that?
Sure. So, well, thank you. It's a good question. And I had to say, I'm actually, although I live in DC, I'm a fellow Californian. I hail from Lafayette, East Bay. So it's wonderful to see all these Californians here striving to make change. Ripsy, we'll have to connect afterwards, because I know we've been communicating via email. So in terms of the funding, I think, Marilyn and I definitely, we'd like to stress that Cities for CI is a very fluid campaign in that it varies per city. So for example, something like what San Francisco implemented, or something like what LA is doing. These are exemplars for the Cities for CDOT campaign. There might require a little bit more on the funding side than, for example, other cities that have just passed resolutions, for example. So the funding really can vary depending on the city's structure and, for example, who the oversight commission is. Is it being housed in a currently existing commission, like a Department of Human Rights Commission? Do you have to create a new oversight body? These are questions that are being explored. So it really does vary. I can't give an exact answer because it varies per city. And so I think I'd happily redirect this question over, if you all have questions about the San Francisco model in particular. I know Marilyn has a lot of knowledge about that, so. Yes, back.
Good morning. Emily Murase, Executive Director of the San Francisco Department on the Status of Women. We are charged with overseeing the implementation of CEDA. And I just want to acknowledge my predecessor, Sonia Malara, who was Executive Director when the CEDA ordinance was adopted. So I think budget is really a key issue in all of this, and we got a lot of pushback when we said we're demanding money attached to this. Because women, I'm just so frustrated about public policy by bake sale. When we want to do something, we have to have a bake sale to do it. And we're saying with CEDA implementation, we are demanding public dollars to do this. Now, I know that many city council people will say we don't want to touch it if it costs money. There are ways to do it in a low-cost way. For example, one of the reports that we do is a gender analysis of appointments to commissions and boards. Like, really, to serve the community, you have to have diverse appointments to commissions and boards. And that's really, you can, find a graduate fellow to come and put together a report, and you can show the value of this kind of gender analysis through volunteer work initially. But really, we're all voters, we're all taxpayers. We need to demand that our government is investing in women's issues and family issues. This is not a favor to the women's community. We are demanding accountability by our government to serve us. And so in our draft CEDA ordinance, it really, that we're proposing as a model, we're asking that communities invest a nickel to 25 cents per woman in your community. Come on, we're at least worth that much of allocation. So you need to fight. You need to really fight over this budget issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for your commentary. And Emily, that was wonderful. Thank you for answering that question.